Panago Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
What if I told you I knew what the NHL Game of the Decade was? We know what Coach of the Decade was, or who it was. It was Joel Quenneville. What would be the NHL Game of the Decade? You hold that thought.
What?
Oh, yeah. They named a Game of the Decade. So hang on to that.
Like the best game of the
entire decade.
The best game.
Okay.
But we'll hold off on that. I'm just teasing that. That's later in the show. Right now, I've got something that's very exciting for you, especially if you're a Leaf fan in Toronto. We've partnered with Crown Royal to live generously. Our friends at Crown Royal have generously offered up a chance to win tickets to the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. If you are a resident of Toronto, visit crlivegenerously.com and tell Crown Royal how you've been inspired to act generously for a chance to win a pair of tickets. There are 19 prizes available to be won throughout this period.
19
games with the approximate value of the prize ranging anywhere from $422 to $834. We have to say that for legal reasons.
So what's that, standing room?
No, I think those are good seats.
Oh, okay.
The odds of winning each prize depend on the number of entries received by the applicable draw date during the contest period. The contest closes March 27th at 12 p.m. That's lunchtime. Entrants must be 19 plus and a resident of the city of Toronto. The selected entrant must answer a mathematical skill testing question in order to win. Sorry, Steve. Good luck. It's crlivegenerously.com. Let's get into who wore the crown. Live generously, life will treat you royally. Why not pour your friend
not?
a Crown Royal? Because, boy, we're going to have to drink after last night. Now, again, who wore the crown is about recognizing one Leaf player who gave it all for the blue and white. It's our town, it's our crown. It's not what you have, but what you have to give. Let's crown that Leaf somehow that lives generously by giving it all to their team. Brought to you by friends of Crown Royal. Live generously, life will treat you royally, and let us get into it.
This player is one of the only Leaf players who can say they put forth an honest effort last night. This player is 23 years old. This player is fast as all shit. This player plays sparingly on the power play, and despite that, he is a 40 to 50-point player. He is a key part of the penalty kill, and he barely takes penalties. And most of all, this player is not getting traded for a backup goalie, Kasperi Kapanen. That is the player who, most of all, I said most of all, he is more not getting traded for a backup goalie than he is fast. That is what he is most of all.
I don't think that's a metric.
The thing he is most is not getting traded for a backup goalie.
Okay.
That's the thing he is most.
All right.
Andreas Janssen is getting traded for the backup goalie.
I mean, I would.
Pierre Engvall gets my crown.
Again,
Because
he's gotten a lot of crowns.
He has, because his line with Kerfoot. Looking awful good, huh? Of all the terribleness last night, of all the disappearing acts on the team, last night was you know what was sucky? Going all the way to Steve's house to watch Steve upset about the game. The only thing that stopped Steve from throwing his phone across the room was the fact that Everly was there, and he was playing with her and was very happy to be playing.
The happiest baby. Mm-hmm. The world's happy. You know why? She was facing away from the TV.
That's probably it.
That's
Steve's a lot of fun. Let's be honest. But yeah, Pierre Engvall gets mine. I almost gave it to Alexander Kerfoot, but I gave it to Engvall because he was the setup man. And I think that he has stepped in. I mean, we knew Kerfoot was an NHL player. At the beginning of the season, we didn't know Pierre Engvall was an NHL player yet.
No.
Unless there's like 5 Marlies reporters who are like, I did. But
and screw them.
Yeah. Screw you and your hard work.
All of them.
Every one of them. Every single one.
Each one more than the last.
Who will go first?
All of them. That's how it works.
In all honesty, though, Pierre Engvall, you get my crown for being one of the lone bright spots. That line was one of the lone bright spots last night. It was a painful game. Producer Jesse, who is not producer Jesse here, but I get used to calling you that. I'm sorry.
Jesse, producer.
Yes. I think this week, for his performance, Thursday, versus the Calgary Flames and his hometown team, William Nylander definitely deserves the crown.
Jesse was there.
And he scored the Leafs' first goal and actually made the game look playable against Chicago.
Yes, he did make the game look playable until it was like 30 seconds later when Chicago scored again, which seemed to be happening all night.
What is it about the damn Blackhawks?
I don't know. We'll find out after who
Jesse
wore the crown this week. But anyway, Jesse,
but
who are you
on
gonna crown?
Thursday.
But what about my whimsical questions?
We're all focused on the Blackhawks last night because
Yeah.
that was so bad. But on Thursday, David Rittich, holy shit. Did that man have a game?
Let's not talk about David Rittich right now because I was making me mad after watching last night's highlights. But anyway.
But thank God William Nylander was able to beat him. With the play started with him behind the boards. You gotta appreciate the effort. He made his own play, went around the end, came back out front, hit it in, perfect, tied it up, got the point. Perimeter player William Nylander.
He actually
scores
scored a
out
perimeter
front,
goal last night.
which was crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, that doesn't happen anymore at all.
So rare.
It never happened. It's just a
doesn't.
narrative everybody
Yeah,
ran
it's true.
with.
You know, isn't he first in the NHL for goals in that area?
He's like first or second. Yeah.
Second. Yeah, we had that
That's
stat
just so
last
stupid.
episode.
That's super stupid.
He is what we were told David Clarkson is.
Yeah.
Or was.
True.
Yeah.
And they paid him only $2 million, or no, less than $2 million more than they paid Clarkson. How funny is that? Like when you put that in perspective, Clarkson was 5.25?
5.75.
5.75.
Loophole was 5.25.
So William Nylander makes $1.15 million more than David Clarkson, and people are upset about William Nylander's contract.
No. Yeah, but he doesn't have any, as Greg Wyshynski would say, what are his scary intimidations per 60? He said that about Milan Lucic. He's like, yeah, but you haven't considered, because they were talking about James Neal's hot start. Yes, but how many scary intimidations has he had?
That's really good.
Greg is such a shit, but he's one of the funniest people in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that to his face. I love you, Greg, but like, holy, there's sometimes on Twitter I'm like, oh, Greg's gonna get into trouble today. And,
Greg?
He does.
And he does.
The South Park episode with the motorcyclists. You know how they're standing at a urinal and the motorcyclist is like, no one's looking at me. So he goes, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." That is Greg. People are being far too friendly to me. Blah, 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 blah. That is Greg Wyshynski.
So Nylander gets my crown for his performance on Thursday and for trying to keep the team in the game last night, which couldn't do.
Couldn't do because he couldn't play goalie or defense.
Or
I'm not sure who was worse.
Or their top/second line.
All right, that's who wore the crown for this week. It was a tough one, but it's brought to you as always by Crown Royal. Next time the puck drops, why not live generously and treat your Leafs crew to a Crown Royal Old Fashioned?
Why not?
Exactly. And the Leafs lose big after losing little. A couple losses in a row. Everyone is bad. Everything is bad. But let's be honest here. The one thing that really stood out from last night's game was the press conference where Sheldon Keefe called them immature.
Oh.
Now that's an I'm not mad, I'm disappointed moment if I've ever heard one.
Oh, it's so bad. So bad. You don't want to be called immature.
A goof?
You don't want to be... No. See, Adam, I don't know how much of a class clown you were.
Nothing compared to you, my friend. Nothing.
Quit goofing around. Quit horsing around. What are you futzing around for?
You got futzing one?
I'm very fidgety. Stop fidgeting. The Leafs were not called fidgety. Stop fidgeting. Stop futzing around. Stop goofing around. Stop horsing around. Stop screwing around. They didn't get any of that. I got that all the time. I would get that all the time. But the words disappointment, to pull a Bill Burr one, unacceptable. Oof, that's a good word. Immature.
That's the dagger.
I've never heard an NHL team called immature before.
By their coach.
Yeah, never. Or anyone. It's just not a word you use in the NHL very often. It was delicious.
Oh, just beautiful.
It hit the nail on the head, did it not?
Like, they always seem to make it a good one. Like, they decide, all right, yeah, we're boned here.
Well, see, I have to say, and Jesse, you were at the game. You saw this firsthand.
Oh, you were?
On Thursday.
Calgary.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
That was a great game.
Great game.
They played
And-
really well.
and
It's
you
just
go-
they ran into the hottest goalie in the world.
Well,
apparently.
shit, they lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, they played a very, very good team.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And
They
they
lost
were edged out.
And they
In a
played well.
thing.
Both
Yeah.
teams.
Both teams.
Yeah.
They lost in a thing that's not hockey.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the overtime was kind of shitty because they got like a second of possession.
Yeah, well, they couldn't take the possession. Good on the Flames for knowing what to do. That's you play takeaway with the Leafs in overtime.
Yep.
I think that's the move. But, like, also, It's not like the Leafs have never been scored on at overtime. Like,
I know.
play
but-
overtime.
Yeah, or maybe if you're the Leafs, why don't you just get the puck back?
Well, why not? Just simply, if I were the Leafs, I would simply get the puck back. That's what I would
Well,
do.
I'm sorry, but is this not a team full of like loaded with superstars making superstar money
And fast players?
At this point, when I was looking at that, I'm like, okay, now your contracts are ticking me off. Go and get the puck. Go and get it. And if you have a 2-on-1 because of it, so what? At least you tried. But there was a lot of like, whoa, I hope I'm going to angle him off here. And there wasn't a lot of like on them like Zach Hyman would be, right? He's like a fly on shit.
Am I wrong at looking at, like, am I looking at the wrong players? Because in today's video, I hammered Freddie because he was bad.
He was bad. He has been
He
bad.
has been bad.
Yo, he's been bad.
He's been bad.
I think it's 10 of his last 12 starts, he's allowed 3 or more goals.
Yeah, you're not going to win a lot of games that way.
You can't win.
Good God. So there's that. But then I hammered Marincin and Ceci too. I think because I'm tired of watching them.
Marinchin's not good.
No, and I was thinking about it today because I was like, oh, it's $700,000, and like they're winning and whatever. He can play for you in a pinch. There are thousands of Martin Marincins available every single summer. You had to lock this one up in January. What for? What? Here's the thing: when he's denying zone entries and all that loveliness, I think he can be a useful player. When he's not, when he's bad in his own end. Get out, forget the team, forget the ice that night, get out of the league. He was -4 in 11 minutes or something like that. Yeah. He doesn't have a point through 17 games. Go away. Cody Ceci makes $4.5 million. He has 7 points this season. He does not have a point since December 12th. And when the Leafs were down 3, I'm like, Sheldon, don't let his skates touch the ice. Nothing good will come of it. They need a goal.
Why?
He's not getting you a goal. He scored in the second game of the season. That was it.
Why do coaches insist on that? I've never understood that. Like, stop
I
playing
get
it.
that
Just
they're
stop.
shorthanded right now, and like last night was concerning. And if Jake Muzzin's not back the first game after the All-Star break, I'd say maybe make a trade because when I saw Ceci Barry as a pairing on purpose, I was like, okay, they're in trouble.
Yeah, but they don't
They're
need
grasping
to do that.
at straws.
They don't need to do that. Is a coach problem. That was a Babcock problem. It is now a Keefe problem, and it's probably a Dubas problem because Kyle Dubas.
It's a Dubas problem.
Kyle Dubas obviously believes in Cody Ceci,
He wouldn't have acquired him if he did.
and then defended him.
And then defended him
in such a public way.
Re-signed him and all that stuff.
Dude, it's a joke. And he had to sign him. I get it.
Yeah.
But no, he did, Steve. That's the
I'm gonna
actual.
be Ian Tulloch
it's
about
either
this.
paying 5.5. No, they've written stories on this. Yes, he did.
200 G's.
They could not have walked away from him.
200 G's. They could have made him a 4.3 offer. Is Ian's sticking point?
Okay,
That's a lot of G's for this
You
team.
can get a fourth liner skate.
They
It's a
could have
lot of
also
G's.
moved him for nothing. They could have moved him for not having that asset on your roster.
They could not have him on this team.
Yeah. That was also a thing they could have
But
done.
here's the thing: they don't have to play him.
Yeah.
Forget what they signed him for. Who cares?
No, watching last night, and I don't think it's smart to just throw Sandin and Liljegren to the Wolves. But watching last night, I'm like, okay, they couldn't possibly do more damage than these guys. You know,
Liljegren didn't look great though.
No, he didn't.
No, but like
the team looked shitty.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him. I'm like, this is gonna be his first game. Poor guy.
they had 7D, and he barely played in the first, which was the worst one. Was he on the ice for any of them? I can't even remember.
He was. There was a giveaway in the.
Oh yeah, when he was coming out of the offensive zone.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
he took it, and then that was the third goal. I think.
It's
They're
like what
so bad.
He sort of pulled
So
what
bad.
Kapanen used to do all the time, and he just went right into a dead zone and turned the puck over. Like it was sort of like no, Kapanen's better at that now, but
Yes.
all the same, I felt bad because they just were not going. They were not happening.
He was the. Sorry, I was
go
going to
ahead,
say
go
he was the 1,000th player to ever play for the Leafs
Liljegren?
That's cool.
last night.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
The 1,000th player to ever play for the Leafs.
It felt like it was the last day before vacation, which it was.
Yeah.
And that they all took a half day. And we're like, we're not going to show up because we're going golfing at this week, and
they
this is
are.
the last game. And it's
At Augusta.
unacceptable because they're sitting at home since last Tuesday. You got all these days to prepare for 2 games on Thursday and Saturday, and then you're done. Just show up for those 2 games, and that's it. Just collect some points. And they couldn't do that, and they took the night off, and
And that's a
it was
Willie
very
thing.
disappointing.
That was a Willie thing. Don't give us the quote. Do not give us the quote, oh yeah, we're going golfing. Mm-hmm. You gave us the quote, Willie. You give us the quote, you better go out there and fuck shit up. He didn't.
Hey, he tried.
He in particular, I suppose, tried.
Man, he played the best game out of everybody, I think.
The rest of the team,
Marner
but
and
that
Matthews were on for 4 of those goals.
Oh, yeah, they were horrendous. They were horrendous.
It was disgusting.
And it's like, here's the thing. I get that you're going to have some off nights, but if you want to be the best, which these guys claim to want to be, it can't. When you're off, you can't be that bad. Your off nights have to be better than most guys' best nights.
they might as well have been in St. Louis already.
Like at the All-Star game.
For the All-Star game.
You can't have off nights when you're just sitting at home relaxing. You have all this time to prepare for a team that's coming on the road.
How about you can't have off nights when if you lose, you're 2 spots out of the playoffs, which they are right now.
Now you're not in the playoff spot.
Or you can't have off nights when you make combined $23 million a year.
Yep.
The team needs
the
you.
Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't care if the entire roster goes out there and has to play in skate guards, should not be behind the Columbus Blue Jackets. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. That team was slaughtered in the offseason. Slaughtered! They don't have Bobrovsky. They don't have Duchesne. They don't have Dzingel. They don't have Duclair. They don't have McQuaid, who I know wasn't a key part of that team, but I'm saying them all.
Panarin.
They don't have Panarin. Who'd they get? Nyquist. Cool. And the guy who's gotten 3 shutouts in their last 4 games is some freaking guy.
Yeah.
Elvis, named Elvis. Elvis has risen.
How many Elvises have there ever been in the NHL? And Columbus went, I think this is how Columbus got him. LOL, funny name. And they signed him to a deal. I think he got that contract by shooting a puck in from center ice, like through those little slots. And they're like, sure. And they gave him equipment and everything. He didn't have a win until like 2 weeks ago.
And now he started 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
And
But the Leafs can't find a backup. But the Leafs have to give up Kasperi Kapanen to get a backup.
They're not giving up Kasperi Kapanen.
Holy shit. This team is brutal. Why do they do this to us? Why do they... And if we're talking about the immaturity quote and the fact that Matthews and Marner were on for 4 goals, who's it about? It's not saying Martin Marincin was immature.
I think Martin Marincin is immature, but...
Oh, yeah?
You know, but you're right. It probably wasn't focused.
In that...
You get to take side shots at Martin
Yeah,
Marincin.
in that he looks like immature forest prey. Like, no. Like, he's just... What, you think it was about Ceci? You think it...
This was all about Martin Marincin.
You know,
Let's admit it.
You think it was about Freddie? It's about those 2.
it was about those
Yeah.
Hey, man, over the last 10 don't care. Every night it resets. And why always the Blackhawks?
two. That's true.
What is it? I think it's 8-0-2 in their last 10.
Oh,
Chicago versus
Oh,
Toronto.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm not sure if it's in Toronto or just overall. One of the two.
And the last win was the 7-6 one. So even still, like, what has Freddie Andersen gotten a win over the Blackhawks as a Leaf?
I don't know. He might have one of those 2.
Well, Sparks has 1.
There you go.
So, and they allowed 6. What is it about the first period? Show up on time. You know the scouting report. Happened last time. Oh, it's Hutch. Remember? Oh, if only it wasn't Hutch. You stink. And Matthews, he's always on shoots with Patrick Kane, and William Nylander apparently wears 88 because of Patrick Kane. Call him your dad. It's not Michael anymore. It's Patty. That's your dad's name. If you're gonna... No, I don't give a shit. If you're gonna be like, yeah, I wear this guy's number because... And then you're gonna let him kick your ass? He's your dad. He's your dad.
Don't tell.
That's the immature thing about this team, I think, is that they don't get embarrassed.
I have a problem with you telling William Nylander to call Patrick Kane his daddy.
Doesn't have to. Stepfather, then. You hate me, but you will respect. That sort of thing. What'd she call him? Peer? You're not there. You're not in that league.
they make more money than
What's
he
in your
does.
trophy case?
They do.
Jack shit. Win something. I'm sick of it.
And again-
what's everyone gonna do in April? Let's go golfing at fucking Augusta. How about that?
They can.
Let's go.
I gotta say that.
Let's go. We're not going to be doing anything else.
If you're
I'll do a
listening to
playoff
this,
preview
you're
about all
listening
these
to-
other teams. Maybe the Blackhawks. Who knows? I don't know.
Are you upset? I can't tell.
Yes, because I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
Okay, hold on for a second. If you are listening to this and you're like, "Whoa, guys, they've only lost a couple games in a row. What's the big deal?"
It's like 5 of 6.
Remember, though, I want you to remember something, because if you're not from Toronto and you're not watching all Toronto games, then it's hard probably for you to absorb this. It is not about that they lost.
Yeah.
It is how
the way
they
they
are losing.
lose.
When they lose, it's like it's not even like, except for Calgary.
Did
on
I act like
Thursday.
this after that? After the Calgary loss?
No, you were fine.
I was like, that's an honest loss.
The important thing
Good
you said
game.
was you got to show up. It resets every night.
Yeah, you're going to
don't-
lose like 30, 40 games a season.
And you hit on something important there. It resets every night.
Yeah.
The problem is that the Leafs seem to reset every night. When you watch a team like Pittsburgh, and
Never know what to expect.
Pittsburgh exactly.
Never.
Pittsburgh fans are giving it to me good, and I deserve it. But the thing about Pittsburgh is their two guys show up every fucking game.
Every fucking game. There is not, you can't, every shift at him. You can't escape Sidney Crosby. How many times are you like, oh man, he was really asleep on that shift?
No one has ever said that.
Oh
about
man,
Sidney
he got
Crosby.
the pants deked off him. No.
Oh no, he might have. Listen, he might have been made to look foolish, but it's not for lack of trying.
Right.
You will never accuse Sidney Crosby of being lazy. Ever.
No,
one.
the only knock on Sidney Crosby over his career was that he was too hot-headed and he allowed people to get under his skin. That's gone. Malkin, it's still very much there, except the difference is he's huge and will turn around and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
So they're
He happens to be a
perfect.
good
They're
fighter.
both perfect.
They are.
Sidney Crosby has played 964 NHL games. I'm pretty sure he showed up for 964 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Every one of them. And was he maybe a bit of a baby when he was a rookie?
Yeah, he liked to whine a lot.
Oh,
Sure.
And there's video evidence of that.
Man, you
That's
know what?
undeniable.
I got down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day because we were talking about what was it? Oh, it was the anniversary. I think it was no, it wasn't the 10-year. It was the anniversary of that Ovechkin hook goal when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
You know, the NHL, like what I was tweeting about is the NHL, like I criticize them for their inability to make anything interesting or adapt or anything in any way. The 05-06 season, like for how different it was from before the lockout.
Huge.
That was a fantastic season, and Crosby and Ovechkin were a godsend and all that. So I saw that Ovechkin goal, watched a few more goals of his, and then I went back and looked at Crosby's first game against the Flyers.
Ooh.
They beat the shit out of that young man. They fucked up his mouth forever, irreparably. He's got no teeth. Like Darian Hatcher just cross-checking this 18-year-old
Right.
in the face, and so he did a little bit of whining as a result, and then the freaking guy buries the game winner. Buries the game winner in overtime on a breakaway. Like it was a great season except for the fact that the Leafs missed the playoffs. But
By a point.
by a point.
We're not upset.
By a single point.
Not upset at all.
So good. So good. The point is, these kids ain't them. Ain't them. It's not about, don't show me the cumulative, here's what it says at the end of the season, here's what they got in the month. The numbers are wonderful, and they paint a very large, vivid picture. But it's the cake analogy I made a couple videos ago. They keep making this beautiful, immaculate cake that Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay would all be like, that's a fucking brilliant cake. And they dig deep into their nose. They get 2 knuckles deep, and they pull it out, and they shove a booger right in the middle of the cake. And you're asking me to ignore the booger. It was great before the booger. There's a booger in it! Look!
Why?
I've never
There's
heard.
a booger in the cake,
That's
and
a good-
people are acting like there isn't.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
It's
No,
a great analogy.
I don't hate the analogy. I just never in my entire life would, if I had gone and never done this episode with you, would I've ever thought of the booger cake analogy. It just never would have come to my mind.
There it is. There it is. Do you want this immaculate? Like it's like this giant wedding cake. There's 4 tiers, and it's got like hockey player on the top of it, and then there's Jonathan Taves, and like it's a little bit more like raggedy than that cake, and it was never as flashy, and it was never as put together. You know what? In perfect, pristine condition, I'll take the really tall wedding cake. There's a booger in it. I'll take the one that's it looks like the icing was done at friggin' Metro. I'll take that cake over this top quality, amazing, potentially 60 goal scoring one that has a booger in it.
So, what do you want to see here?
Literally,
what do you want?
Effort every night. We don't get that. You think they're going to win in the playoffs? The way that they play now?
I'm not
night
convinced.
in, night out.
I'm not convinced. No. I'm definitely. I'm not. No.
Not right.
You watched Game 1 against the Bruins last year. I'm sure along with many of you, convinced myself that the Leafs were about to win the fucking cup. Because I was like, Jesus, they took care of the puck. They were getting in alone. They were drawing calls. LOL, playoffs, night 1, cutie. And they were doing everything right. They were hitting.
And game 5, you thought the same. It's like, wow,
Game
one more
5
game like game 5, and they will close this out.
Tight. That game kept Babcock as the Leafs coach for 6 more months. Mm-hmm. That game
Very true.
saved his job.
And
then what? Game 6 was shit.
Yeah, they were up 2-1, then they're up 3-2, and both times they lay an egg and they don't show up.
Forget how bad Game 7 was. Game 6 was shit.
Yeah.
They don't bring it every night. They don't.
And whatever.
Sorry, I feel like you guys were in the mood for jokes, and you're like, shit. This is real.
Whatever Patrick Marleau was brought in to do, he didn't do it.
No.
Right.
Like whatever that killer instinct was supposed to be, which. I mean, Jeremy Roenick did accuse him of not having a killer instinct, but Jeremy Roenick says crazy shit
With
all
all
the time.
due respect to the man's illustrious career, that's who you brought in for killer instinct? Justin Williams.
Has a killer instinct.
And you had a chance to get him, and for less.
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah,
Not this year.
yeah before.
Before.
16 or 17, I think. Yeah. 17 in the summer.
Oops.
So, there's
So,
a million of those, though.
Yeah.
Of the, hey, you could have signed a guy.
I mean, yeah. Okay, I'll take that. That cancels out they wanted to keep Boland.
Right.
Sure, fine. Oh, that doesn't make me feel any friggin' better. I don't know. Part of me is like, just miss them. Just miss the playoffs. Because you're not going to do shit once you get there. They're not going to do a damn thing. You're losing to Columbus? You should turn down the trip to St. Louis. You're behind the Blue Jackets. Holy shit, does that comeback win against Carolina look important? They're the non-playoff team that's ahead of you. Fucking shameful. This team sucks. On a night in and night out basis, you don't. Oh, Steve,
You don't know what's showing up.
Yeah,
You
what
do
did
not
you
know
miss
what's
during
showing
that whole? You don't know what's showing up.
And you should know at this point. They're old
You
enough.
should know at this point. Now, dog days of the season, whatever, bye week, all-star, blah, blah, blah. From the first game after the all-star break until the end of June, you need to be the same team every night. Every night. After the all-star game, there's no excuses. I got no sympathy if you miss the playoffs. I don't give a shit who's hurt. I don't give a shit what call didn't go your way. I don't give a shit how bad the ice was in the arena that you played in. Win or don't. Those are the options in front of you. You've played enough playoff hockey to know that life's not fair. Quit whining. Go out there and win games. If you don't, I have no sympathy. I don't care.
What do you think of Matthews' post-game comments where he said that they weren't going to dwell on it and that they were going to just take their rest and come back and reset?
I don't know.
Right
I think it's just a nothing. It's just a nothing comment.
Yeah, I don't expect him to, wallow and beat his chest as he's friggin'
Castigate himself in front of everybody.
Yeah,
And
openly weep as he's walking the streets of St. Louis. I don't expect that, but I would like some inkling. Like when Marner, I can't remember which game it was, when he was visibly upset. Part of me felt better. I'm like, okay, at least you share the anger, and they should be better than us. Mm-hmm. But when you just seem aloof, when you seem in your post game comments as you seemed during the game,
Right.
It's not a good sign.
Open emotion doesn't seem to be something that they display a lot,
No, Matthews, I'm not. It would be headlines if he was like, God damn it!
Right.
Can you imagine? But now I kind of want to see what it would look like. Okay, and you see when he just sunned Connor Murphy, just threw him to the ground. I'm like, every shift. Every shift. And I want them. I don't know how they're going to win the cup if they keep, like, let's say they do make the playoffs, all right? I'm not saying they're not going to make it, right? But they keep losing in the first round. You're never going to truly experience greatness. You know what I mean? You're not going to understand. Like, the war, like, think of how sore and beaten you all are. After the first round, 7 games against the Bruins, how are you going to know what it's like 6 more weeks of that?
Yeah.
How are you going to know if you keep losing in the first round? How are you ever going to look greatness in the face as your equal? I'm just so sick of cheering for this mediocre team. I'm so sick of cheering for this team that I said the Oilers were. You know what I mean? Show me every single night, and they don't.
I got a DM last night after the game.
Was it a dick pic?
It was. And I have to say, it was small.
Wow.
It was very small. And it turned out it was mine. So anyway,
Wow.
sorry. No. What happened was
That's why I'm not on Snapchat. Too many dicks.
Did you get a lot of dicks on Snapchat? I can't believe you got a lot of dicks on Snapchat. I never got a penis on Snapchat. Also, no one's on Snapchat.
This guy
so it doesn't matter.
he sent me parents 3, 2, 1. Okay, now the story starts. He basically sent me the shaft. Like, that was it. And so I just messaged back, coward.
Oh my God.
You send the whole thing or nothing at all. Preferably nothing. Yes, Adam?
I want to see it in all its veiny glory. How's that for descriptive?
Podcast is taking a dark turn.
Sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, beyond the dick pics, it was...
Adam, get to the meat of your story.
No.
Oh, sorry, not to hog all the airtime.
Let me drop the hammer on there.
Oh, you see,
We're not
because...
doing dick jokes today.
I want...
Dick!
You know what? We've had surprisingly small amounts of dick jokes ever on this show. So
true.
I think, we
That's
might
true.
have been due after 7 years. But I have to say, the one comment that gives me a little bit of pause, and I want to run it by you guys, and I know you're going to disagree, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Well, now I'm going to agree.
Oh, that's how I get Jesse to agree with me.
Remind me about that after.
Okay, so this person wrote me. Let me see if I can look up your name, because you deserve this.
Ron McLean. It was Ron
Okay,
McLean.
can't find it. Anyway, he said, listen, I know this sort of sucks, but am I the only one who doesn't hate the idea of the Leafs fighting for their playoff lives rather than being an autopilot?
I love it. Because they clearly were in autopilot. After
That's
that
the
little
last
streak
few years.
ended. No, after their little streak ended.
Oh, yeah. No, I was talking about the last couple of years.
Couple of years, yes.
This hockey in January has at least been far more exciting, even if it's been a little bit more losing than it was the last 2 Januaries, where the playoff spot was locked in, and they just said, okay, we're going to be boring and shitty now, and this sucks. It's not boring. It sort of sucks, but it hasn't been boring. There was no reason for you to rant at all. Like, I remember there were shows that we did where I was like, there is literally nothing to talk about with this team, because they're in autopilot. They're doing all the same boring ass shit that is not helpful for their team, for the team.
But who
going
should be
forward.
on the 4th line?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Is Matt Martin still a guy that should play here?
Who should the 7th defenseman be?
Right? So this is the thing. If they are tested right up until... You look at what Columbus did last year to Tampa.
Colorado.
You are tested right up until the playoffs start. And I mean, the Leafs went up against a very strong Washington team a couple of years ago and stole a couple of games that they never should have.
Listen, they have not lost to a bad team in the playoffs yet.
No.
But
They got to win.
that's how it works. That's
But
what they're about.
Is there a way to find some sort of satisfaction in that? Like, they had to fight for it. They had to earn it. Could that be good for them?
Do we trust that they're gonna come? It's gonna come down the wire and they're gonna sneak in.
I
Because
do.
if they're fighting for their playoff lives, they still have to make that. They have to win that fight.
I think they're going to.
Okay.
I think they'll make it. But they got to be a different team. They've got to be a different team. It's there. It's there for the take. Whoa. Okay. Is Merzlikins going to get 3 shutouts in 4 games for the rest of the season? Probably not. And that's what it's taken for Columbus to get to where they are. What's Carolina's deal now that Dougie Hamilton's broken his leg and is out for God knows how long?
Yeah, or it's a bone in his leg, right? He didn't. It wasn't like a femur or whatever. It wasn't like the fucking.
No, femur's like 8 months.
Yeah, but he's gone probably till close to the playoffs.
It's bad news.
Yeah,
It ain't good. I think they'll make it, but they gotta come back a different team. They've got to come back. Man, look at Tampa. You think adversity hurt them?
Just a little bit.
You look at the difference between
it
struggling and actually bad. The Tampa Bay Lightning were struggling. The Sharks are actually bad. Right?
So are the Leafs struggling?
At the moment, for sure.
Are they actually bad?
At the moment, for sure.
Wow.
In their own end? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. They suck. They stink. And when they do put forth a full defensive effort, it's clear that they can't score the same. All right? So
Interesting.
maybe I'm basing that on Dave Riddick, standing on his brain.
Adam Brooks and Timothy Liljegren were sent to the AHL today, loaned to the AHL today, just so they can keep their reps up over the break. So they are not going to get a bye week.
No. Adam Brooks, who did not look the best.
No, but the game shouldn't live and die on his stick.
I think Adam Brooks is the most important player on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Wait a second. What if Adam Brooks doesn't come through for the Leafs?
He's immature.
Also, could they not send down Sandin as well?
I just think they gave him a break.
Oh,
They wanted to
interesting.
give him I think he's an NHLer now. I think that he's done with the Marlies now.
Very interesting.
And you know what? They see him in the playoffs. Liljegren has not earned a spot. Or Liljegren, as people are. I'm just calling him Liljegren until further notice.
Lily pad. You got to earn that nickname.
He hasn't. Last night he wasn't great last night, and nobody was great last night. But Sandin's an NHL player, and there's no point in sending him to the Marlies anymore.
Fair enough.
Liljegren
They want him rested.
Has got to prove himself.
Yeah, and he played all those games of the World Juniors too.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sincerely hoping that when they get back, Liljegren gets a chance, and I'm talking about at the expense of Cody Ceci. Jake Muzzin
We're
back.
done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done here.
I would rather have Marincin playing 5 minutes a night in that sixth role and having Liljegren get some reps. So
Dude,
at least, here's the other thing.
I said last video, or last podcast about CC, it looks terrible politically. Fuck it.
Yeah, well, who cares now? He's not good.
Who cares?
Doesn't it look worse politically to the players if you're playing a guy who doesn't deserve to play?
Yes.
Like if there's a guy who actively is not good enough to make your roster. That's weird to me. And I'm not sure what Kyle Dubas's fascination with Cody Ceci is. I don't understand what he sees that somehow everybody else, not even
He can't trade him.
It's crazy.
He can't trade him.
He doesn't have to play him though.
That's true.
And that's the point I'd have to ask them is what are you seeing? Are your advanced stats internally so good that all of us are missing something?
Well,
that
and
every writer, every fan, eye test, stats test, advanced stats test, everything.
So who's the answer,
Everything
though?
is bad.
Can I
the
give
answer,
you guys
though?
the bad news?
Sure.
He's going to keep playing as long as he's on this roster.
Oh yeah. But so the Leafs.
Gotta always have a Polak. Here's fucking Polak.
That's just how it is. I don't know why. And like you said, what's the answer? But the answer is probably anybody
Don't
else.
dress him.
You can have CC at 4.5, or you can have Hainsey at 3.5
Take Hainsey
every single time.
all day.
Every single time. It's oh my god. Now their defensive depth is not their offensive depth.
No.
They just don't have the guys to call up. Kiwi Halmy is Magic Beans, so we don't know what they have there. But behind him, who? On the right side, behind Liljegren, who?
When Dermott's on your top pairing, I think that's a problem.
He's not good enough.
Yeah, he's not ready.
No, Dermott,
Hall is
no.
good enough when Muzzin's the partner.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that makes the team. Muzzin makes the team look so much different.
Yeah, he does.
And he pushes the right guys down. Now all of a sudden you're still missing Riley, but you got Muzzin, Hall, Dermott, Barry probably, and then likely Sandin, Ceci.
But when
It's not ideal, but it's better.
When you're running healthy and it's Riley, Muzzin, Barry, and any combination of the guys on the other side, that's good.
That's pretty good.
You can
That's a great top
you
three.
can win a couple playoff rounds with that.
Yes.
But then when it's this, it's
It's so bad.
everybody's just gonna skate around you, and that's what happened with the Blackhawks.
Maybe it's like, I don't know, Tampa last year, like you lose Hedman, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the you got this really tall Jenga tower, but you're taken from the bottom. Like Hedman's that important of a piece for that team. Maybe that's Riley. Maybe everyone should have shut up. Was it Riley bad is still 2 or 3 times as good as anyone else.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to be reevaluated in now 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it 7?
He'll be out. He'll be reevaluated in 8 weeks.
Oh, right. No, because they, sorry, today in the video I said 6, but that's because I'm factoring in the bye week. So they're still going to have to play without him for 6 weeks.
Right.
They're not going to have Morgan Riley back by the trade deadline.
No, March is when they get him back.
So he'll be back for the playoffs.
Yeah,
We're pretty confident of that.
No, they'll check him in 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's
so
reevaluated.
or it was reevaluated was the word. So he might be back mid-March.
Right.
But the next checkup is in 8 weeks or 7 weeks now.
Here's little breadcrumbs there. Immature thing about the team. Who do we keep saying could have easily been the captain of the Leafs and is probably the captain of the young guys?
Matthews?
Morgan Riley.
Oh, Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
Well, it was Morgan Riley or Austin Matthews. One of them's gone. They look vulnerable. They look young, weak, and vulnerable.
Is Cody Ceci on this team next year?
No.
Jesse,
At like $700,000?
No. He could be.
hear me right now. Hear me
Let's
right now.
re-sign him. Let's
I'm
re-sign him
telling
now.
you.
What if somebody gets him?
Hear
You need
me
to
right
re-sign him
now.
like
I
Marincin.
will not go to a Leaf game.
If Cody Ceci is.
I will not. I will boycott the team.
Now that is a load of patootie.
Yeah, that's
and you know that.
that.
I'm not going.
Jesse and
okay,
I
I'm
will go
literally
and we'll
going.
send selfies.
I will go to. I will only go to Leaf games I am paid to go to.
That's fair.
If I'm paid to
pompous
go
ass.
for work, fuck that! Don't put bad players on the team I cheer for. All right, I will go if I am paid to for work.
That's fair.
If you load it up with that, you saw it for a year and wanted more. Damn right, I'm not going. But I still got bills, goddammit.
Okay, fair enough.
But after with that, if I'm not getting paid, luxury time, leisure time, whatever.
What if
No.
You're not
what if
spending your...
Metrolinx calls you and says, "Hey, Steve,
Steve.
do you want to take this line that's not built yet?"
Can you please promote this line of Metrolinx that doesn't exist until 2040?
So we're
And
gonna
talk
build
about
a
P.S.
train
Fuck you, pay for parking. Garbage.
Oh, man.
So Cody Ceci might be on this team next year.
No.
They
he won't be.
appear to be big fans of him. They keep playing him.
Cody Ceci could actively lose him Dubas'
You'll
job.
have
Like, he's so bad. Like, it could be like, if like,
You'll have to wheel me through that door like Hannibal Lecter in a straitjacket to get me to talk about this team if Cody Ceci is on the Leafs next year.
Why not?
Jesse.
For $700,000, $750,000, maybe $800,000.
I would just say, just don't.
Why not?
I also think, does he not seem miserable to you here?
Well, what
doesn't
did you?
seem-
Yeah, he's not stupid.
He's not
Every
happy.
day you wake up, people are asking why you're doing your job.
Yeah, he needs to. He needs to not be in
miserable
Toronto.
too.
I don't think he. I'll be honest with you. I highly doubt that Cody Ceci would want to play here.
Oh yeah.
Not that he has much of a
No.
choice. Someone else will offer him something.
Yeah.
I don't think Cody Ceci wants to stay. I don't think he was happy about being traded from Ottawa. I don't think he's happy about being here, to be honest. And it hasn't gone well. So he probably wants to move on.
Players know who they're traded for. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he... Wait, why? What? Oh.
Because I'm bad.
But they also got... And I didn't know I was that bad. And he scores in the second game of the season. See, I'm not that bad. Yeah. You are. I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't know. It's not his fault. He can do what he can do. What are you doing to this poor guy?
Yeah, that's the thing. None of
What is this team doing
is
to
Cody
him?
Ceci's fault. It's,
No.
we're
Leave him
upset at
alone!
the people who are putting him in the positions that he's been
You're
playing
asking
in.
a fish to climb a tree.
Do him the kindness of
Right.
scratching him.
Anyways.
Sorry, I looked up the wrong guy. I wanted to look up Nikita Zaitsev and how his season is going because that was something that both fan bases just mutually lost interest in. It sends fans, oh, look at this thing Zaitsev did. Look at that. And it's gone so bad for both
Don't
of
worry.
them.
Nikita Zaitsev has, are you ready for this? Do you have it?
Oh, I have it. He is smoking. Just smoking
Jesse,
Cody Ceci in the scoring race.
So good. He is, how many points up on Cody Ceci?
1.
Really?
Cody Ceci's got him beating the goal race, though, because Cody Ceci has 1 and Nikita Zaitsev has 0.
Here we go.
So-
Yeah, and Zaitsev's missed a bunch of times for extremely bad personal reasons. Man, he's 28.
And he's still
Why did they sign him to a deal like he's 21?
He's got a lot of years left on that deal, too.
People tweeting me stuff like, oh, is it time for them to be reined in like Lou would have done? What, reined in? Like given a lifetime contract if he could have? His fingerprints are all over the CBA. Half of the rules are in there because he broke them. Fuck. I just want to win a cup. I just want my team to win a cup.
Hey, speaking of winning the cup, most iconic game of the 2010s, producer Jesse, do you know this story?
I'm excited for this. No, you teased it to start the show.
And I'm sorry I
And-
can call you producer Jesse. That is not what your name is
Oh,
here.
that's
What?
okay.
I'm sorry.
You
Because
don't
he's
have to
producer
apologize
Jesse
for
at
that.
Virgin, and anyway.
You don't have to apologize.
Jesse,
Yes. Jesse
what was
Blake.
your Jesse Blake?
Mr. Jesse Blake.
That's you,
Esquire.
sir. Esquire. Captain.
Captain? Jesse
Captain.
Montgomery Blake. Montgomery, Washington, Lincoln Blake.
Adam, say the goddamn
What do you think? That's why he has an OtterBox case.
OtterBox. You can do stupid shit to your phone.
Jesse, what was your
Thanks
favorite
for the
game?
pop socket, Connor.
What was the best game of the decade? I'm asking you.
That's a very good question. Is it? It would have to be a playoff game,
Okay.
I would think. The best hockey game of the decade is the 2010 Olympic game where Sidney Crosby scores the golden goal. That's I think,
agree.
I think the best hockey game.
I agree.
Of the
yeah, because
2010s.
Parise tying it up last minute, like it was great. It was great.
Unbelievable.
I'm talking about the best NHL game.
NHL game. Whew. I gotta think it's maybe an overtime playoff game. In recent memory, I don't know.
Name
I
an
go
overtime playoff game. Just pick
the
something.
Washington Columbus overtime.
Good pick. Because that was like a major.
That changed the course of the NHL history.
Yes.
Because they go on to win the cup after that.
The NHL has named Game 7 of the Eastern Conference first round final between the Bruins and the Maple Leafs on May 13th, 2013 as the game of the decade, the 4-1 game.
Come on.
It was 4-1. That is the game of the decade.
Why?
And the
What's
first
the
comment
reason?
at NHL.com on Twitter is "Go to hell." Clearly from a Leaf fan.
What's the reasoning?
Fuck you. That's the reason. Just endless pain. Endless. The Leafs haven't had dry hair for decades. Just always getting dunked right in the toilet, flush. And then they light you up for air because it's not fun if you're dead. Flush. And they just keep doing it.
Brad Marchand.
Why do it? I can't believe I hitched my wagon to this team.
Brad Marchand called it by far the most fun hockey he's ever played.
Fuck you! Ah!
Now, I'm going to tell you something, and this
You
is not
won a cup!
It's not going to be a popular
They
take.
won a
No,
cup!
Marchand enjoyed that more. That's what he said. It's by far the most
You get
fun
to
he's
speed
ever had.
bag the league MVP for 7 games! And you got to play against the Leafs, who had 2 hot scores, James Reimer, and a bunch of kids stacked onto each other's shoulders wearing a Leaf uniform so that they look like one real adult. That was the most fun you ever had! The Bruins should have won in 3!
Yeah. The Leafs shouldn't even been in this series.
No, they
They shouldn't
shouldn't.
have made the playoffs!
But They
Right.
were not going to make the
They were
playoffs.
a horrible team!
How does this make for the best
Because
game?
of
They
the
needed
collapse.
a defensive upgrade and they got Ryan O'Byrne!
Screw that.
So they're calling it so. And I'll tell you what, I know why this is game of the decade, guys.
Because it's Toronto.
It's literally a social strategy in American sports to fuck with Canadian fan bases.
Well,
it literally is because we take the bait every time. They use it on the Blue Jays. They use it on the Raptors. Are you serious? No one's picked up on this trend?
Well,
no one's picked up on this?
It's also easy.
We're the easiest marks out there.
Right, because it's also easy because they can't lose in America if they attack a Canadian team.
Right.
And that's what matters. But beyond that, the reason that this is absolutely... Listen, you know what? I agree with them. It is the most iconic game of the decade. And I'll tell you this. That would not be an iconic game if it happened in Columbus, Philadelphia, New York, Tampa Bay, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, any of the California teams, and any other teams that I have not mentioned.
Boston's haunted.
The reason why that is the most iconic game is that game encapsulates everything it was to be a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and everything it has been since 1968. That game, that period, that overtime is everything it has ever been to be a Toronto Maple Leafs fan in my lifetime. And I'm talking about the buildup, the hope. We shouldn't even be here. Oh my God, this might happen. And then it's taken away. If you look at 1993, that's another series that everybody talks about. L.A.
We threw a parade.
The Kerry Fraser missed Gretzky call where he high-stick Gilmore, and that famous picture of Doug Gilmore standing there with blood on his jersey and the assistant captain covered in dark red spots. And that was another one. We shouldn't be here. We lucked into this. Oh my God, they might actually do it. No, Wayne Gretzky. And
no one left on the roster beat the Islanders. No one left on the roster beat the Sens. Oh my God, it's the Hurricanes in the conference final. We got...
And the Toronto Maple Leafs, as they always do, they build you up, they get you excited, and then they crush your dreams.
2013. Did we trash the joint?
Huh?
Did we trash the joint? Did we break windows? Were there mass arrests?
No.
No, because it's what we expected.
Toronto, in one game, got what it was to be, until the Raptors won, a Toronto sports fan, and specifically a Leafs fan, what it was to be a Leafs fan and what it has been for 54 years.
And we always joke about, oh, here's Connor McDavid as a kid with his Leafs jersey.
Yeah.
You know he burned it that night, right?
Did he?
I assume so.
No,
he should have.
No, he
Him and Dylan Strome.
Listen.
Anyone who grew up a Leaf fan that didn't quite get it yet got it that night.
The Leafs are an iconic franchise for some of the wrong reasons. A lot of the wrong reasons.
They're literally the only team to ever do that.
Yeah, there's no right reason.
They are
Leafs are
iconically
iconic.
disappointing.
Right.
And that game encapsulated it all. That
the
is the
game-
game
Cool,
of the
better
decade.
make my whole life about them.
It's the best game of the decade.
The Bruins didn't even go on to win the cup or anything.
No, they lost. They lost in the
to
finals.
the Blackhawks.
No, but that game wasn't about the Bruins.
Yeah,
that game is about the Leafs. That game is about Toronto, and everybody else
dumb.
in every other market knows about it.
Ridiculous.
Because that's what we are, or that's what we've been. And I don't want to be that. I don't like that. But only in Toronto could that happen because it is so popular here, and we are so crushed every fucking time.
They shouldn't label it the game of the decade then. It's, hey, this is the most tragic thing to happen to the most tragic team in the last 10 years. That's what that award is.
I mean,
Dude,
fair.
Crosby and Ovechkin dueled hat tricks in a game, in a playoff game. Everything about that Kings Blackhawks series a few years ago, every single thing about it.
The Carolina-Toronto next-gen game is better than this game.
As a game?
There was two times they scored 3 goals in a minute. Both teams back to back.
That's not even
crazier than a 1 3-goal comeback.
Boston won 2 better Game 7s 2 years before that. Like you could have picked any moment, even if you wanted to stick to Bruins, you could have picked any moment from the 2011 run. That was magical. They beat the Habs in Game 7 in the first round. Magical. The next series, you play the Flyers in round 2. The Flyers, who you were up 3-0 on the year before, and then you were up 3-0 on in Game 7, and they came back, not only won Game 7, but they did it by overcoming the 3-0 lead. The following year, you play them in round 2, you sweep them. You leave no doubt. The third round, Tampa, Again, Game 7. I can't remember if it was overtime. I think Nathan Horton had the game winner. You win that. And then the Canucks, the President's Trophy winning friggin' team, you're down 2-0 on them. Think of all the drama involved and the pump your tires comments and Nathan Horton, Aaron Rome,
And what round is that,
Marchand.
Steve?
That was the Stanley Cup final.
Thank you.
They won it on the road.
Thank
They
you.
caused a riot.
Thank you.
Do you understand that win was on CNN? They friggin' burned
They
the
made
city down.
international news.
They made international news.
Because of a hockey game.
But I guess
And yet, no, Steve.
No.
The Leafs blowing a lead was more, but it was the best.
the hands down worst team to make the
The
playoffs
title is
did
game
hands
of the
down worst team to
decade.
make the playoffs things. God damn it.
Guys,
That's the best.
You named-
Martin St. Louis with the Rangers.
You just named
none
a-
of that.
you just
could
named-
have picked the Rangers. What?
You just named a bunch
What?
of teams that aren't the Leafs. It can't be if it's not the Leafs. It can't be if it's not the Leafs.
So dumb.
The Leafs are that big. They're that iconic. They mean that much. And anybody who tells me otherwise, I'll just point you to that game.
Okay, so why?
I'll just point you to that article. And just tell me that any other team blowing a lead in the 7th game in a first-round series
When they shouldn't have been in the series.
could even be in contention for this. Sorry.
Kane winning the cup in
Toronto,
overtime.
sort of
Oh
a
wait,
big
no one knew he
deal.
fucking scored. Alec Martinez scoring in overtime.
Yeah, there's been OT winning cup games in this decade.
No. Cannot beat that. And
Why
that's
aren't-
from the NHL's official website as voted on by their staff.
I'm looking at
Game
the,
7, Pittsburgh, Ottawa.
No, because no one cares, guys.
I'm looking at the
Who
list
cares?
of the all-decade
Small
stats.
market, who cares?
I'm looking at the list of the all-decade stats, and why aren't they all the Leafs? There's
Well,
save
because
of
the
the
Leafs
decade,
sucked.
there's coach of the decade, there's franchise of the decade. Why aren't they just all the Leafs?
They should be.
They should be.
Money made for the NHL, Leafs number 1.
Save of the decade, Fleury on Patan. Just fuck it. Just who cares?
Going wide anyway.
Although I have to say, that was pretty good, even if it was going well.
Shout out Marc-Andre Fleury. Thank you. I was cheering for you both times you made that save on Babcock. The Patan one. And who wasn't cheering for the Penguins to beat the Red Wings? Beside Red Wings fans, I'm sorry. You won the year before.
Anyway, it only happens because
That's
it's
so
Toronto.
stupid.
Sorry, it only happens because it's Toronto, though. You know that. You know
Coffee's
that.
good today.
Is the coffee good?
Can you tell?
I couldn't tell at all. Meanwhile, after being unbeatable in Toronto, David Rittich lit up against the shitty Senators.
God damn.
Now, the one thing that we do want to talk about with this game is, has Wes McCauley redeemed himself in Steve's eyes? Because at the start of the game,
You all make me sick.
the Kachucks,
You all make me
noted
really
wingers,
sick.
the Kachucks, were waved out of the face-off circle, and Wes McCauley, it turned out, told them he was going to do this after. Waved them out so that the Kachucks, in front of 30 Kachucks, there
Which
were
was
30
cool.
Kachucks in the stands.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Kachucks. And they were all there, and they were all watching, and they got to take the face-off in an NHL game. How cool is that? Steve, Wes McCauley, is he redeemed? Why don't you like Wes McCauley now?
Listen, that was fine. And you know what? If he did it a little bit differently, it would have been really, really good.
Okay, what could he have
If
done?
he goes up to the guy, no, you will. This is correct, Jesse. You have two options: to agree with what I'm about to say and be wrong. All right. You go up to them beforehand and you let it build. You let the building feel, see, experience what is going on. It was literally just the two centers. Get out. The Kachucks come, and then they take the face off, and one of them wins, and it's not that good because neither of them are freaking centers. That was it. You let it build. You let the whole building go nuts. None of that. We're not even talking about the Kachucks.
Maybe.
We're not talking about Matthew Kachuk, and we're not talking about Brady Kachuk. We're talking about a ref.
We're talking about a ref because you don't like this ref. We're not talking about it.
It's just me. Okay, here, let
No,
me.
that's why we're talking about it.
No. Let me just make sure it's just me.
He shouldn't have made a bigger deal out of the face-off. It was a simple little
Yeah,
thing.
he's got to
and
take. He's got.
There's a game to play. It's not that important.
The Hockey Night in Canada official Twitter account.
Okay.
Oh, he's making him take the opening face-off clap emoji, spitting chiclets. Wes McCauley, all-time. Corey Hirsch. Wes McCauley is the best. Love it. Bar South and Selly. Wes McCauley mic'd up is one of a kind. Sportsnet's friggin' Twitter account. Wes McCauley's a legend for this. Crying laughing emoji. Were you crying laughing, everybody? Another reason Wes McCauley is my favorite ref. Wes McCauley is the GOAT. Wes McCauley is the best ref of this generation. No wonder that building was so empty. No wonder we have such a problem with the... Dude, he's fine. He's fine. 5 minutes for fighting. Quirky, I like it. Made the two brothers have a face-off against each other quickly and sloppily. Fine. Fine. Jesus Christ! What's the guy? Sign your underwear, bring him to the game, and throw him at him.
What?
Like, no, because this guy's a goddamn icon, Jesse. He's Johnny Cash when he started. That's what Walk Hard was a parody about his life.
I don't know why you have such a problem with somebody doing something fun.
Because it's the worst. It's the worst.
For someone who asks for more fun stuff with hockey, you shouldn't take a negative stance on a guy who's trying to inject some fun into hockey.
Adam, what did you do when you got me at the door there today?
I threw a bag of 2-bite brownies at you.
You threw a bag of 2-bite brownies at me. Now, what if... No, and how did I react?
You said, oh.
Oh. Positively.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was
Minor positive surprise. Minor positive surprise.
Right.
Now, what then if I tore off all my clothes, dropped to my knees in tears, and laid there for an hour and a half? That's the equivalent of everyone's love for Wes McCauley. It is minorly interesting at the top. At the tippy top of it. And this guy, might as well be the MC for, the correspondence dinner at the White House when it comes to NHL terms. Ah! This is one of the top personalities in the sport to some people. This guy's the reason some people, Wes McCauley's reffing tonight. Holy shit, honey. Hold my calls. This is fucking amazing. It's a ref who is just not outwardly a dick and incompetent. Occasionally making funnies once every 3 months. He is the most overrated personality in the sport. It's shocking, and I feel like I'm the only person who gets it.
No, there are a lot of people on your side.
I don't. He's
I
fine.
understand that.
He's fine.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me my opinion about Wes McCauley, I'd be like, great, I would say good for the sport. Mm-hmm. The 5 minutes for fighting. Why doesn't everyone do that? That's great.
You don't hate Wes McCauley. You just hate the reaction
to
he
Wes
gets.
McCauley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop directing your anger at him. That's my problem. Stop hating him.
Adam, Pierre Engvall, you gave him the crown today.
Yeah.
I thought he deserved the crown. But it's like if you could have smacked the mic.
Okay. Pierre Engvall!
Yeah, Adam, who should wear the crown? How dare you ask me? How is that even a question? Who should wear the goddamn crown?
You're gonna break.
Forget the crown. It should be the Hart Trophy. Steve, why would you even ask me that? You just asked me if Pierre Engvall. Don't ask me.
I gotta fix that microphone now. It's falling out. Oh, it's totally screwed.
That's how much I love Wes McCauley. It is stunning.
That's just gonna hang there now.
Yeah.
Just for anybody listening, the microphone is attached to strings, and Steve unstrung it.
I really did a number on that thing.
That'll be. You have to talk for a little bit.
Yeah. Listen.
Ted Lindsay too. Give me your mic now.
It was very funny and a little bit intimidating to have Steve over there like that. But I do want to say.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's really messed up.
Just talk for a little bit.
I can actually fix that. So the microphone's fixed.
Also, my thumb is bleeding.
Why is your thumb bleeding?
I don't know.
Where did your microphone sock go?
I must have hit some. Oh, here it is. Found it. Here, always use protection. They're wow.
Woo!
Yeah,
Well,
so I don't know. Wes McCauley's all right.
By the way, the 2-bite brownies I passed Steve, for anybody asking, no boogers. Just throwing that out there. They had no boogers.
I'll definitely have one.
Very important.
Question for you. Are 2-bite brownies, or are they just cupcakes without icing?
No, it's a brownie.
Is it a brownie?
No, they're made as
And
brownies.
is a brownie really just a piece of cake that hasn't risen as much?
Adam, I'm glad you asked that because it reminds me of something of Jesse's that I wanted to address.
Oh, please.
What happened?
Jesse,
Don't let this be the hat trick thing again.
you're a very tall man,
Yeah.
which is ironic.
Jesse drops it and goes, no, I'm not.
I disagree.
You're a very tall man, which is surprising for someone who gets off so much by being a little shit.
Wow.
Keep going. I'm here to listen.
The hat trick, okay, there are so many things that you say that are objectively wrong that I think you say for funsies. The hat trick conversation, I have never seen so many brains melted in my mentions by a single argument than the hat trick thing. There are
so
several
true.
threads on the Reddit page. My mention, it is several times an hour. People are going to put like a mob hit on you for saying that 4 goals is not a hat trick.
It's funny when you teach someone something new and like they don't want to
Teach
accept
someone something new.
it. No revolution was started quietly.
They were all on a podcast.
Deep, man.
You're the
When-
Arthur Fleck of podcasts.
When change comes to the world, the people will speak. Because people aren't used to change. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to hear. It's not easily acceptable. But eventually, the correct side comes to fruition.
Comes to the forefront.
Comes to the forefront.
They're in your face. You have to face the truth.
And I stated my case about the 3 goals or 4 goals being a hat trick. And I said my piece.
Did you
And
notice?
eventually, history will prove when we are in the future. It's do you want to be on the right side of history or do you want to be on the wrong side? You know, and eventually, history will prove out that I was on the right side of history. And everybody who wants to join me can join me
on the
in
right
this
side, okay.
on the right side.
Women should be able to vote.
Yes.
Don't be a Nazi. Hat tricks are 3 goals only. Things like that. Got it. Right side of history. Jesse Blake. You're brave.
I'd like to do
I like you.
a quick shout out to a couple of guys that, I worked with one of them in Calgary. JD Lewis and Jesse. What's Jesse and JD on CJ92 in Calgary? Because they bought a billboard in Edmonton that said.
Oh, you know those guys?
Yeah, oh yeah. The Matthew Tkachuk Friendship Tour coming January 29th. January 29th. They did it for charity. They've raised over $50,000. But basically, what's happened is they've from what I understand, they're going to raise at least $20,000 for ALS research through this billboard, which is kind of neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So basically, they basically wanted to shift the focus from them being mad to an ALS drive, and I guess they've raised $20,000 and counting. And Edmonton fans are getting on board with this, and people are donating a lot of money, and it's kind of cool. So this is like anyway. Quick shout out to Jesse and JD for the Matthew Tkachuk Friendship Tour. And if you can donate to it, please do, and listen to them on CJ92 in Calgary.
Whoa.
Part of the Bell Media family.
Oh, so it's Weenie and the Butt in the morning then.
No, they're good.
Bell, don't listen to him. No, it's been so funny watching Flames and Oilers fans begrudgingly work together on this.
It has.
Flames fans are like, we're doing this because we're super cool. And Oilers fans are like, you are doing it because we bullied you into doing it because your original idea sucked.
Now let's talk about Edmonton.
Let's talk about it.
In headlines last night, Zack Kassian, it will come in at around $3.5 to $3.75 million, so 3.75, something like that, over 4 years for Zack Kassian.
Who was drafted? He's not the youngest man. He's not the oldest. I want to say 2009.
Is that your guess?
I think he was a 2009 draft pick
He was 13th overall by the Buffalo Sabres.
from the
28
Peterborough
years
Petes.
young. Zack Kassian.
28, so he signed till he's 32. Or rather, when's his birthday?
January 24th.
Oh,
which
okay,
is
so he's a
in couple
fresh
days.
28.
Yes.
Fresh.
No, he's going to be 29. January 24th is his birthday.
Well, he's going to be in his 30s. Sorry, I'm spent after the microphone thing. Fuck.
Zack Kassian is going to make a lot of money. Is it not possible to find a Zack Kassian replacement who does almost the same thing to put with Connor McDavid for less?
I'll say no. I'll push back on that. There are so few players in the NHL now who bring what Kassian brings. Right? The belligerence and the pugnacity.
What is the intimidation for 60?
Okay. His hustle, his toughness, his scary intimidations per 60, all those things, right? However, that is a great deal of money for a guy who, if you take him away from Connor McDavid, is not going to accomplish a ton. Now, he plays with Connor McDavid, so maybe it doesn't matter. That was the argument about Zach Hyman for a long time. You take him away from Matthews or Tavares, it's not going to go well. Well, he's played so well that
why would you take him
they
away?
would never do it. I don't know if that's going to be Kassian. And some Oilers, I saw Wood Guy, great follow. He pointed out a Ken Holland quote that was like, well, 3 years ago in the playoffs, Zack Kassian was one of the Oilers' better players. And he had a gander at all the numbers, and he was like, in fact, he was one of the worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Zack Kassian was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's value in keeping Zack Kassian and replacing him on that line with a different, cheaper, more skilled forward. But they're not going to do that. The argument I've seen against it, like I'm not rooting against Zack Kassian.
No,
here.
this is not Zack Kassian. This is the Oilers continuing to do what the Oilers do, which is sign contracts they don't need to sign.
They're strapped, right? They're cap strapped.
And they're going to strap themselves again with a guy who might not get that on the open market. I really don't think he would.
I do. Oh, I do.
Well, then it would be Jim Benning. Because Jim Benning is the king of bad July 1st contracts.
And that guy played in my division, and I want him. Maybe, but it's just the good point I saw, and I think this might have been another Wood Guy one. The whole thing about McDavid is he makes the players around him better, which means you can put any old cheap winger. Sidney Crosby, the last ice surfing game I saw him playing, was on a line. I want to say it was with Dominic Simone and Zach Aston Reese. You know what I mean? Sidney Crosby makes guys money. The difference is they make their money on a different team. Connor Sheary is a millionaire on the Buffalo Sabres. Brian Rust is a millionaire who is apparently God. Again, the difference is the production kept up, right? I have no problem with Kassian staying an Oiler. I have no problem with Kassian as a player. It's a tough contract for the Oilers.
What's the AAV?
Somewhere between 3.5 and 3.75.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's the quota. They don't know yet. They haven't signed it.
They win one cup.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't. The term is concerning. But
I think the amount's concerning.
Yeah.
I think in 4 years it's not going to be anything really. But
And you do have Sam Gagner, who's making $3.1 million, another Jim Benning deal on the books. So that's probably where they're thinking that money's going to come from. But all the same, they're still strapped. Like they're still. I don't get it. I don't understand why they have to do this. Ovi scores 2 hat-tricks in a row.
what a monster!
Passes Super Mario and then ties Steve Yzerman at goals all time.
It's the most Ovechkin thing ever. He's got a shot at being tied for 10th. Ties, passes 9th.
And he is tied with Steve Yzerman at 692 goals.
Tied
With at number 9.
So he's at how many?
692.
How old is he?
34
Like he really is going to hit.
or 33.
He's going to hit like 800 goals in his pajamas.
He's 34.
Like he's going to like. Do you understand? This guy is going to pass Gordie Howe sleepwalking.
In the era that he's had to play in.
Unless he suffers some kind of catastrophic injury, he's going to pass one of the greatest hockey players. I mean, every single person he's passing is a legend. But like, he might pass someone named Mr. Hockey.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you this. David Pasternak is number 1 this season. He's got 37 goals. Ovi and Matthews tied for number 2 with 34. And here's who else is on the list, okay?
I can't believe Ovechkin caught the both of them.
Here's who he's got.
You know he's winning the Rocket, right? It's not Pasternak or Matthews.
He's won it.
Ovechkin will win
He's
that.
won it 6 of the last 7 years.
He's going to win
I
it.
think it's an easy
He's
bet.
coming on strong. So,
He's going to tie the both of them with a hat trick in his next game.
so here's the thing. When when Ovechkin inevitably gets a hat trick the next game, he will pass not only Steve Yzerman, but Mark Messier, too. He's got 692 goals. Messier has 694. Mike Gardner, 708. Phil Esposito, 717. He could catch Phil maybe by the end of the season, although that would be a bit of a stretch.
So, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of goals.
731, Marcel Dion. So you'd have to think he's going to pass Dion and Esposito next year. Maybe Brett Hull at 741. And then he's got a couple more years after that. So he's 36, 37 years old. Yager at 766. Gordie Howe at 801. Gretzky at 894.
I don't see how Ovechkin ends his career lower than second all-time in goals.
Barring some crazy injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
I don't like every rumor about him, every nasty tabloidy rumor about him ever released would have to be true. Like, he gets some catastrophic injury, he's got some Russian birth certificate thing, and he's actually older than it says he is.
Is that a thing in Russia?
It's a thing with almost every player. Like,
From Russia?
Eric Engels literally asked Ilya Kovalchuk about it. Like, because he's listed as 36, and the rumor is he's actually 38.
Oh, wow.
That happens.
Wow, really?
It happens with a lot of Russian players. There was another guy. I can't remember who it was a few years ago. He was rumored to be going, like, he could have gone like first overall. And then you looked at his career trajectory and the way it went. It's like, oh, maybe he actually was lying. He was a good player, but like he wasn't a top 10 player.
Ilya Kovalchuk, by the way, has turned into an asset for Montreal. It looks like he might get traded because he's been so good.
No, if you're not going to make the playoffs, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
Turn
why
that
not,
into
right?
A
Why not?
third round or second round draft pick, right?
Good on Ilya Kovalchuk for completely turning everything around. Good on the Montreal Canadiens for taking this absolutely no-risk thing and potentially turning him into a fruitful investment. If you're the LA Kings, are you not furious with how this has turned out, with how Kovalchuk looks?
If you're the LA Kings, you should have been furious for the last 2 years on how you've screwed up your franchise.
They screwed up their franchise, but like you look at Ovechkin, you look at Kovalchuk, the way he's played with Montreal. How do you look at the way he's played and believe that when he played for your team, he tried?
No, they have a bad team right now.
They do. What, the Habs are awesome?
But
They're better.
One thing Eric Engels always makes note of is that the Habs give effort every night.
Yes.
That they're out there trying, and that the problem is they just don't have the skill every night.
Right.
But they always give a maximum amount of effort. And Kovalchuk gets into that system. He's out there trying, and he shows he actually has it still. And the Kings, it doesn't look like they have anything.
If you don't try on the Canadians, you will stand out. So maybe it's just to the Habs' credit, and there's nothing against Kovalchuk. I can't help but every single time I see a highlight pack with Kovalchuk as the center point of it, I just can't help but go, did he even try when he was a King? Did he even try?
I think he did. I think the system he played in, which the Kings play this defensive system that has held other players back for years. Like the only players that could ever score goals for the Kings were like Anze Kopitar and Jeff Carter and Marian Gaborik for 3 seconds. And I like
And Dustin Brown occasionally.
yeah, Dustin Brown when he wasn't awful in that weird
No, it
zone
was-
where he was awful for 4 years.
He became bad, and then he's good again.
And then he was good again. And you're like, what happened there? That's weird. And he was a captain, and they took it away. And they're like, he might have been an NHL player.
Ironically, it's what we said about Jake Muzzin last episode. He's great now, but the second he takes a single step backwards, it's going to be off a cliff.
Yes.
And that was the Kings.
But Dustin Brown took a step off the cliff and then stepped back on it.
And stepped back on it as the team sucks. Okay. In 17 games with the Kings this season, he had 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. In 8 games with Montreal, he has 4 goals, so he's already passed his goal total. 4 assists for 8 points. So he's almost there.
So I think that the Kings system didn't lend itself well to Ilya Kovalchuk.
Yeah.
And I also would say this. The second season he was last year the first season he was there? It was
Yes.
Yes.
last year was the first. So by the end of last season, things went so badly that Willie Desjardins is your coach, and he's scratching you. And as you said last year, and I think this is a really good point, and this is no disrespect to Willie Desjardins, but who the fuck is Willie Desjardins?
Who are you?
And it was sort of like, okay, so are you okay, maybe Ovechkin wasn't performing, but there's a reason that Willie Desjardins didn't keep that post, right? We all know that, right?
We always joke about there's 35 guys for 31 jobs, and he doesn't have one right now, as far as I know. He's not a head coach, not in the NHL, right?
Right.
He might be an assistant somewhere.
Record when he was, he's currently the head coach and GM of the Medicine Hat Tigers.
Come on, man.
Well, there you go.
Come on, man. Like, it should say something. It's so hard to get kicked out of that group, and he's not in it.
And I think even a market like Montreal lends itself to Kovalchuk, where there's so much pressure. Like, he doesn't have any option here. But if you don't perform, that's it.
He would thrive in a building like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the spotlight's just on him every night, and he seems like he's thriving.
He needs, and
It was
like,
a great pickup.
like I look at last year. He had, where was it? Last year he had 16 goals in 64 games, which is, for the amount of money he was getting paid, horrible. But I guess it's not an unmitigated disaster. The 2 seasons before that, he had 30 plus goals in the KHL. That is, I know it's the KHL and it's not the same. That is hard to do. It's really hard to do. And he was on a stacked team like St. Petersburg. He had 31 goals. The next closest guy on his team was Nikita Gusev, actually, with 22. He had 9 more goals than his closest teammate. It's really hard to do. So I just couldn't help. After last season, I was like, maybe he's just cooked. And at the beginning of the season, I'm like, maybe he's just cooked. Now I'm watching him with the Habs. I'm like, I don't know if he tried as a member of the LA Kings.
I think it shows. No, I don't think it's about trying. I think it just shows that the LA Kings system is broken. It's been broken for a while. It doesn't work anymore, and they're stuck in 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know that the LA Kings have this great system. But they've got great players on that roster, admittedly some bad contracts, and their previous general managers to blame for that. And I still don't think the LA Kings have done enough in the last couple of years to turn themselves around. They could be further along, much further along. The only trade they made last year was the Jake Muzzin deal. And
they did all right.
Yeah, they did great there. The only trade they're going to make this year is the Alec Martinez deal, if it happens.
They got to be really busy.
You could do more.
They need to have a really busy dedeadline, man.
I don't think
They
will.
should.
I don't
It
believe
can't
that
just
they-
be
they- they
expiring
need to.
contracts.
Second last in the NHL.
No, but that's good.
But so like, how aren't you just selling off everything?
Tyler Toffoli's been on the trade block for 3 years.
Right.
Like,
How is he still a king?
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Come
go.
on. Yeah.
Like, let's do something.
It's enough.
This is what I was getting yelled at for with the Oilers earlier in the year. But like, it's okay. It's hard to make moves. It's hard to move money. I get it. Try.
You could find someone to take Alex Iafolo if you wanted to. Adrian Kempe, maybe.
Well, now how much money do those guys make, right?
Well, like a couple million. But
You're talking about guys who are like on the cheaper side. They're on the younger side.
the biggest problem that the
worth
Kings
keeping.
have, Martinez is 32. So that's not moving him with one more year in his deal. You get some real value there.
I had
for
no
sure.
idea he was that old. Yeah.
But
saw
Doughty is 30 and Kopitar is 32.
and that deal
Doughty's
just
deal
started.
Doughty's deal just started this year. That is an 8-year contract.
Yeah.
Kopitar's deal doesn't end till 23-24. So that's 4 more years after this one.
They're just going to repeat the cycle. They're going to repeat the cycle. They had these older, expensive vets, and by the time they're ready to do anything, they're going to have these older, expensive vets.
And by the way, say hello to your future, San Jose. Actually, say hello to your present.
No, that's their president.
You're the new LA Kings. Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
Oh, they need a goalie so bad. They need a goalie so bad.
Man, I've... And here's the thing. They re-signed Jack Campbell at 165 for 2 more years after this one.
He's a good backup.
He is a good backup. But you've got Quick, his contract doesn't... He's 33 now. His contract doesn't expire for 3 more seasons after this one.
Did he have one of those illegal deals?
No.
You sure?
I don't... Well, maybe he did. Yeah, hold on. Because I remember them they signed that deal and then the Kings...
Our goalie's better for 10 years.
10 more years. $58 million, 2013-14. I don't think so. He is almost 10% of their cap value now.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Here, let's take a look.
Oh, signing date July 1st, 2012. Yeah. So it didn't kick in until the next year. So yeah, I guess it is. It's not really backdiving that much though.
Yeah, it only gets down to $2.5 million in terms of salary.
It's just I think it's the length of time that's illegal.
There were a bunch of
it's a 10-year
contracts.
deal.
There were a bunch of contracts signed over like the span of like a month, and it'd be great. It'd be fascinating, and it would take a few years from now. But it'll be fascinating to see how many of them even come close to finishing. Okay, we got Quick, and that's up in the air. We got Shea Weber. Well, so far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Duncan Keith, we're not totally sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hossa, nope. Gaborik, nope. Zetterberg, nope. Datsuk, nope. Suter, we'll see. Parise, we'll see. It's a lot of them, man. It's a lot of them, and they're still going.
Mm-hmm.
Luongo, hard nope.
Man, that sucks for Vancouver because they could sign a terrible player for $3 million. Instead, they have to leave that space blank. They could get another Jay Beagle.
They're top of the Pacific right now.
I know, they're great.
No. But think of who you could. So now you're top of the Pacific, right?
Now you could add.
You could add
top in terms of they're all within 1.5.
It's
Still,
that's exciting.
Listen,
I
I'll give
know.
it to them. I'll give it to them. No, the point is never that their young players are bad. They've drafted well. They've done that really, really
Yes.
They
well.
have a great young core.
They have a horrendous group of older contracts. Horrendous.
I'm just. I don't know. I've said
Louis
it
Eriksson
before.
got his 37th goal, by the way.
Whoa!
So it's less than $1 million a goal they've paid for in his total time in Vancouver.
It ain't good.
It ain't good. Now, lastly, before we get into quick All-Star Game chat, David Backes went on waivers this week. He is now buried. By the way, I don't know how this happened, and I don't know how to get there, but Cap Friendly has a night mode. So I went on. I think there's night mode for Cap Friendly because I was on today on my Google Chrome.
Ooh, is it?
And I
all
have it on night mode, and then Cap Friendly was on night mode. I was like, whoa.
Is it all the numbers, but like
But
sexy?
black and blue. It's
Whoa.
If you go to the little settings thing in the top right corner, you can toggle on and off night mode.
So anyway, shout out to Cap Friendly for that. But in all honesty, I feel bad for David Backes.
He just got a big raise. Don't feel too bad.
Oh yeah, again, one more time on that. If you go to the minors,
You don't have to pay escrow.
so he's getting 15% of his each paycheck from now on back,
Yeah, you just got a 15% raise.
and next year too.
And he's a person who makes $6 million a year. It's not bad, eh?
495.
495?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
4925 apparently.
I think that might be actual money.
Oh, is that actual money?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. $6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has signing bonuses that were paid this year.
I have no life.
And lastly, Steve, you're going to the All-Star game.
Yes.
So we will be podcasting again on Tuesday, although I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about.
Oh, is that what we're...
We have to do Tuesday.
do the Leafs play Monday? No, they don't.
No.
Okay, Yep.
Yeah.
I think we can do that.
We have to talk.
Because I have ice surfing Tuesday as well.
We have to do Tuesday.
I know we have to do Tuesday, but I have to do ice
Some point
surfing.
this week.
Listen, what? Everyone stop fighting over
I
me.
know
God.
everybody wants you,
I know. I'm friggin' hot.
but yeah.
You're going to be on the bench
So this is my understanding, and these
on
things...
Matthews' lap.
Yes, literally going...
Telling him, hey, smarten up.
You're immature.
Tell Martin Marucci he's immature.
That's the reason you're terrible.
Adam and Jesse talk shit about you all the time. I don't actually say anything. I don't actually...
Talk shit about him. I'm just saying.
I said, how's Emma? How's Emma? Is she cool? Since the last time I saw her, you know I met your mom, right? And like, oh my God. Yeah.
So what's the deal, y'all?
Car wash. Car wash is going to happen Thursday.
For
So
people who don't know what that means,
I
tell
was
them what the car
about
wash
to Jesse.
Okay.
It's that again.
Steve, you can't start off a sentence and be like, so the Flugel Dougal, and nobody knows what you're talking about.
Listen, what I want you to know is here's something you don't understand.
You see what I deal with? You see this? The car wash.
Is this funnier or less funny than Wes McCauley?
Wes McCauley, who will be at the All-Star game.
Because they gotta mic him up. Because he's like Eddie Murphy in his
It's
prime.
Dave Chappelle.
It's just
He's Dave,
unbelievable.
Eddie, and Eddie Murphy together, combined.
And friggin' Carlin. And just all of them. All of them. Fighting! Ah! They're gonna be pulling fire alarms and shit when he does that.
Okay,
the
so-
building's gonna go nuts.
You're going to be doing the car wash, which is...
So, to my understanding, I'm going to be interviewing the players at the All-Star game from 9 in the morning till 7 at night on the Thursday.
Wow.
Yes. What am I going to be talking to them about? I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea, but it's going to be a very, very long day. And then the skills competition, my understanding, and this could change, is that I'll be on one of the benches the whole time.
On the skills night, which is Friday this year.
Yes. Okay. And then all those special permissions that we have on that night, the next night are revoked. So for the All-Star game, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'll probably be around the bowl, and I'll probably be down to hang out.
So when you're on skills night, when you're on the bench, do you know what you're going to be doing there?
I think...
You're going to be on the broadcast?
Well, I think you'll be able to see me. Oh, like, will I have a mic and will I be talking?
Well, yeah,
no.
Is anybody going to check in with you?
No, I don't think so, no. And if I do, I don't know that right now.
Okay. You're going to have access to a camera, I assume?
I think my phone.
Phone?
I'm pretty sure the plan is the fine woman who runs our social media. Mm-hmm. She's going to be on one of the benches, and I think I'm going to be sending her stuff from the other bench.
Oh, okay.
That is what I think. To my knowledge, I'm not allowed to talk to the players.
So you can't record any footage when you're down there? Like,
I don't see why I wouldn't be able to.
What,
no, I'm going to be able to record lots.
But you can't talk to anybody.
I mean, I might.
Can only take
I might.
Okay.
Like, I might.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
What are you going to do? Send me home? I'm going home anyway. Shut up. I don't live here. Like, I don't know. Yeah. What are you going to do? Send me back to Toronto? I freaking live here. Whatever. I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So I get to see what it's like in St. Louis.
Are you doing a meetup?
I'll tweet it out if I am. I don't know exactly. It'll probably be Saturday.
Okay.
And if I do it Saturday, I don't know when it's going to be. So
anybody
watch
who
that
wants
Twitter.
To meet Steve Dangle, go to your Twitter account.
Yeah. And you got to literally strip naked like you just met Wes McCauley and scream at the top of your lungs. Don't do that. Don't do that. I am not from there. I'm not trying to get arrested. All right? Yeah.
How close are the arches to the arena?
No idea.
No.
I just looked up the weather like the other day. Like, I don't even know. This is so fresh for me.
I have more questions about Missouri if you'd like to field them.
It's actually
Let's
pronounced
go.
Missouri.
How is Missouri pronounced?
Yes. Wisconsin, I think, is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
That's how it works. Okay, here's what an ignorant Canadian I am. When I looked up St. Louis on a map, I didn't realize it was like 5 seconds from Chicago. Like, I didn't realize St. Louis is like just below Chicago. I don't know. It's like Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, and I guess Missouri and Tennessee. Like, I guess the way they're portrayed is, it's like the South and all that or whatever. Or that's what I thought. Or like the Midwest. Or basically I'm basing it on Nelly videos. They make it seem like it's so much further west. And then you look at them on a map and you're like, oh, it's there?
Yeah, because it's like that little cluster of like Louisville and Nashville and St. Louis and Indianapolis. It's
Yeah.
all in that area.
Like, I wouldn't think any of those places were anywhere near each other. I would have thought they were all like an 8-hour drive from each other. And they're right there. You could like commute. Oshawa to Toronto, basically. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to be going to St. Louis. It's going to be great. Just you watch. Adam? You good?
I'm just listening to you.
Compelling content.
I don't know, man.
No,
You're asking me something
I asked
about...
you. I'm just listening.
I have very few details.
Well, I'm very excited for you.
Me too. I hope.
Great.
I hope I don't get spit on by all the Leafs.
Let's do a quick press conference.
The Presser S.
Who are all the players on the roster?
The Steve Dangle Press
Trying to think of-
Conference.
Yeah, I've clearly done a lot of research. I
you
know what
think-
I'm going to be asking.
So when you're doing the scrums with all the players, the car wash as you call it,
I think it's going to be one-on-one.
do you think any of the Leafs are going to be like, hey, shut up?
Potentially Marner, yeah. I don't know.
You said last episode that you were concerned about it.
Well, I don't know. Or I think at best it'll be Frosty, which isn't good for content. Hopefully it's cool. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see. I've met Freddie. I've never met Matthews. So it'll be nice to at least meet him. I don't know how I have to dress. Like, do I got to wear something nice?
Atlantic, Tyler Bertuzzi, Anthony Duclair, Jack Eichel.
Anthony
Jonathan
Duclair's
Huberdeau.
going? That's sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthews, Pasternak, Hedman, Weber, Anderson, Rask.
Okay. If the Bruins don't know who I am, I'll be surprised. How haven't they all watched the Game 7 video from last year 1,000 times?
Pasternak and Rask?
Rask especially!
That's who you're getting.
Come on. Okay, who else?
On the rest of the rosters?
Yeah.
Metros, Barzal, Gensel.
Barzal's interesting.
Panarin, Konechny, Carlson, Kyle Palmieri, John Carlson, Dougie Hamilton, Seth Jones, Holtby, Korpisalo.
Okay.
Good team.
Okay.
Central, Patrick Kane.
Well, Korpisalo... No, he's not on the team anymore.
He
was replaced by Jari.
Yes.
I guess this list isn't updated yet.
Oh.
There you go. Centrals, Kane, McKinnon, O'Reilly, Scheifele, Sagan, Stahl, Roman Josi, Alex Pietrangelo,
Never heard of him.
Jordan Binnington, and Connor Hellebuck.
Sorry. Okay.
And Pacifics, Couture, Draisaitl, Kopitar, McDavid, Elias Pshashin, Jakob Silverberg, Kachuk, Giordano, Markstrom, and Darcy Kemper.
Very neat. Oh, I
do you
wish
think?
Kemper was going. I called for you to win the heart, you know.
First thing about the press conference, Adam Wild, you owe me a pizza.
I do owe you a pizza.
So what happened? Explain.
And by proxy,
do
you
I-
owe me a pizza.
I actually
you owe me a
don't.
pizza,
I don't
Adam?
remember, to be honest with you.
You don't remember?
No. What did
The
we?
coach.
I explained it to you on the way.
Oh, it was the All-Star coach thing. Yeah, because Gerard Gallant is no longer the coach because the NHL's stupid. So here's a reason to watch the All-Star game. How about we take that away? And they did. So Gerard Gallant will no longer be coaching the Pacific team.
Supposedly, it was his idea.
Well, then
Not to
Gerard's dumb too. The NHL should have never let him.
And that's why he got fired.
Yeah.
Hey, Gerard,
Somebody
what would
call
you
Doug
do?
McLean and go, Doug, your buddy Gerard is doing silly things, and you need to encourage him not to.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I owe Jesse a pizza because I was hoping Gerard Gallant would be there.
And I said, there's no way the NHL will let anything fun happen. And I was correct.
Jesse, you're wrong. Wes McCauley is going to be there. All right? It's going to be lots of fun.
Here's a question from Marge and in charge on our Reddit page.
All right.
That is very good.
In the LFR, you talked about the only name we have is Georgiev, or however you spell it. But they definitely spelled it wrong. Do you really think that's the only name the Leafs have, or is it the only name the media has? What do you guys think?
Could be both.
Well, I don't think we said that was the only name. I think
No,
that
I
that's-
did.
Oh,
It's the only name we ever bloody hear.
well, yeah,
Steve said
because he's the one that's most obviously on the block. But if we
Right.
know anything about Kyle Dubas, he likes to go switch.
That's what I said.
What does he
Likes to go whoa, but not in the way that
switch.
Steve received the Brownies.
All
They're
right.
very different from that.
This is
Steve was like,
different.
whoa.
Jack Campbell! And just tears off his shit.
By the way, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, guys.
They're going to win it, too.
The Titans.
Oh, did they beat my team, the Tennessee Titans?
Derek Henry can run all over.
Oh, my team didn't football as good as them.
Anyway,
I'm pissed.
Don't be mad at football's amazing, okay? Andy Reid needs a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he needs
this
a
is the
freaking
year.
ring.
Yeah.
Who's that guy right now on the TV? Oh,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
wow, man.
You're not one of the Mahomies?
I'm so sick of him. No, I'm not a Mahomie. He just beat my team.
Shut up, man. But anyway.
Who are they playing? Or is that...
It was the Chiefs versus Titans.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're probably going to play the 49ers, who are going to win this afternoon.
Oh,
49ers,
okay.
Chiefs, and Chiefs are going to win. Put your bets down, people!
I think the only reason you hear Georgiev all the time is because he's the one who most obviously needs to be traded. And people in New York are like, well, he doesn't need to be traded. And it's like, well, yeah, he sort of does because Hank's not going anywhere and your goalie of the future is ready to go. And why wouldn't you get him reps now in a season that doesn't matter? Because next year it starts to matter. And, I think there are probably other names out there. I think he's probably the most attractive name out there, too. And it's also New York is leaking this stuff to the media right now, which is what you do. Because they want to drive up the price. Like, you saw that tweet that everybody was riffing on Darren Dreger on. I'm not sure if you saw this, but they're like...
I'm not sure Kapanen gets it done.
Yeah, he was tweeting at James Myrtle about something because James Myrtle wrote an article about it, and he's like, I'm not even sure Kapanen gets it done. And many people said, if Kapanen does not get it done, then do not do the deal. And in fact, if Kapanen is what it takes to get it done, do not do the deal. And I completely agree with that. If Kapanen is what you have to give up to get a backup goalie with 60 games,
Right.
yeah, then see you later, man. We'll sign the short guy out of Russia and we'll be fine. I honestly, there's no there's nothing in that makes a lot of sense. I know what New York's doing, which is let's see what we can get.
Yep.
let's see if someone gets desperate. And I don't think anybody's desperate enough to give up that kind of talent for a backup goalie who has been admittedly very good in the time that he has played. But I'm sorry, 60 games is nothing.
And the deadline, I want to say, is it March 1st?
Yes.
I think it's a later one this year.
NHL trade deadline. We'll check it out. It's not shaping up to be a good deadline, though. Monday the 24th of February. It's not shaping up to be a good deadline this year. Even CJ even said that on a broadcast. He's like, it's going to be pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. You know, well,
and
watch
like,
this.
Hey,
this will be the year.
We have a Sportsnet special coming up. And he's like, yeah, but it's still not going to be very good.
Something's going to have to shock us
Yeah.
if something good happens.
Yeah, can't wait to be at the building for 10 hours for nothing.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that Alec, like no one's going to get excited about an Alec Martinez move. Leaf fans would get excited about a Georgiev move, maybe a defenseman. But like, unless you shock someone, like the St. Louis Blues trade Pietrangelo, and you're like, whoa. That's a big deal. That takes over the whole day. But that's not happening. And none of the bad teams have players, it seems, this year that are so good. Like there's no aging veteran who's still really good
Taylor Hall
on a bad team that's moving on.
It's already
Taylor Hall,
the Coyotes,
gone.
that's already done. Yeah, the Coyotes are.
And you look at someone like Duclair. Like, Duclair most likely is going to get moved, but you don't look at that and say, whoa, shocker.
Guy having career season gets moved at deadline.
Yeah, like...
And
From Ottawa.
Yeah.
And I've already said I think the Sens should keep both him and Peugeot.
They should.
And then he also just might not get moved. Right.
Yeah, I would love for them to keep both. I think that'd be great. Because I think if you're Duclair too, I think you got it. Sometimes it's like Steve talked about goalies in their happy place. I think people in their happy place don't fuck with happy. If you are happy and you are successful in a certain spot, you found your spot. Stay in your spot if you can. Now, I would hope that Duclair's happy in Ottawa lifestyle-wise. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I would hope Eugene Melnyk has stayed out of there. I mean, because that would be enough. Even if I was having a career season, if Eugene Melnyk is goofing around and being Eugene Melnyk, then yeah, that maybe I would still consider leaving.
The Sens have been pretty quiet.
They have. It's been great. It's a good thing they brought in Nikita Zaitsev to change the culture there, as NHL.com wrote an article.
You are making that up.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to NHL.com right now.
No.
And I want you to look up Nikita Zaitsev.
No.
And then I want you to look at the articles under Nikita Zaitsev's profile that were written recently about Nikita Zaitsev.
Adam Bartholomew Wild. Who's the author?
I'll get into that. Give me 1 second. I'm just pulling it up right now.
It's up on the screen. It was written July 8th, 2019.
Yeah.
Is it a guy in a hat and mustache named Zakita Zaitsev?
It was written by NHL.com at NHL.com on Twitter.
Wow.
So here's what DJ Smith had to say. I'm looking for people to change the culture here and up the work ethic. I just explained how much I needed him, and we needed him here in Ottawa to help us with that.
Oh, you're trying to put logic behind the deal that we all know why the deal happened. Okay, never mind.
I still don't know why the deal happened. Like, I still don't know what was in it for Ottawa.
This summer, you'll know. When 4.5 comes off the books, you'll be like, oh, that's why.
No. What's in it for Ottawa?
Connor Brown.
Oh, yeah, and he's been good.
Connor Brown, and I think they might have got a pick out of it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Michael Carcone.
Anyway, yes, there are other NHL goalie names out there. However, Connor Brown, 31 points. However, I just don't believe that any of them are as sexy as Georgiev or as obvious. And obvious, sorry guys, in the media, obvious is usually what people go with.
All right.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of the rule.
And the Leafs need a backup goalie. I don't think they're the most desperate team out there.
No.
But
they should make the deal.
Yes.
Final thing of the day.
Well,
The New York Islanders, at least their Twitter account, is filled with a bunch of cowards.
Oh.
And they need to be called out for being pathetic little cowards.
whoa.
Wow.
The
Colin
New York
Cowherds.
Islanders were up 4-1 on the Washington Capitals.
Not as easy as it looks.
Devin Taves sellied his goal to put them up 4-1 by doing Ovechkin's bird flap.
Kuznetsov.
Oh, sorry, Kuznetsov's bird flap. My bad. The Islanders' Twitter account tweeted out the selly and then the 100 emoji.
Ooh.
And then Devin Taves doing the selly. And then the Islanders went on to lose the game 6-4. So they did not hold on to that 4-1 lead. They lost the game.
They got Ovechkin.
And then the New York Islanders Twitter account deleted that one tweet.
Ew.
Come on!
And Russian Machine Never
Come
Breaks
on!
wrote a whole article about it
Oh, that's amazing.
because they live in a petty kingdom.
You suck. Like,
Yeah.
you suck.
You do suck.
It is embarrassing.
Don't delete at the time, you were up 4-1 and he sellied. Like, it doesn't erase the history. Who
Jesse?
cares? You suck.
Okay. Should you delete a tweet just because Twitter people were mean to you?
No.
Should you delete a tweet if Lou Lamoriello texts you, delete that tweet along with a picture of your car?
Then you delete the tweet.
That's what I think
That's a
happens.
different circumstance.
That's
Okay.
what I think
You
happens.
think Lou Lamoriello told them to delete the tweet?
I think at very least someone afraid of someone who's afraid of Lou Lamoriello said delete it.
Did Luke call him on his secure line?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
It's a red wire. Sir, your secure phone line is ready.
Good times.
Oh,
I
great
think
times.
that's so embarrassing.
Yeah, hey, how
Own
about
it.
you delete that tweet before I give you concrete galoshes? Yeah, that's
if we delete it, nobody will notice that we tweeted it and everybody made fun of
That's
us.
the thing about the internet is once it's gone forever.
ever.
Nothing's ever forever on the internet.
Nope.
I want to shout out Jeremy Bracco. He had 2 assists. He Ovechkin'd the Marlies today.
Wait.
2 assists ties him for second all time for the Toronto Marlies.
Wow.
Bracco
Well,
has
actually-
112 assists.
You don't want that.
No, you really don't.
No, he's gonna
Who'd he
get traded.
pass? Tim Stapleton?
He's tied with Chris Newberry.
Oh, dear.
And Mike Zigomanis is the all-time leader at 116. Bracco is 4th in the AHL with assists right now. He will pass Ziggy probably in the next couple games.
You can listen to Mike Zigomanis on The Morning Show, the starting lineup on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, along with Ashley Docking and Scott MacArthur. Don't laugh. Scott MacArthur's having a great day. He's a 49ers fan.
I've never heard of that show. I only listen to TSN 1050 and Overdrive and Leafs Lunch and other great programming on TSN 1050.
That is-
Macco and Cause.
That is a lie. You listen to Sportsnet 590 The Fan. You watch games on Hockey Night in Canada. And when they're done, you watch Show Me until you fall asleep. That is what you do.
Show me what it was
That
a
is
while
what
ago.
you do. You fall asleep to the fine programming on Show Me.
The only Sportsnet programming I watch is ice surfing.
Oh.
Goddamn right.
That is the only way I consume my hockey is through ice surfing.
Yeah, I know my hockey show
All right.
is ice surfing.
It's one thing when we pick on strangers. I'm in the room. All right? We do a fine show on ice surfing. It's really good. And you can catch it every Tuesday from 7 p.m. Eastern to 10. Except for the week after the All-Star game we're doing Monday.
But only in it if you're in a specific region that allows
yeah,
you to
but-
watch.
Canada!
That's a pretty
Sorry that Canada is too specific.
it's a bit of a it's a bit of a niche audience compared to the States, to be honest, right?
And every show when I tweet out the link, all the tweets I get are, when are you going to allow it to be in the States? Like it's my freaking call
No,
or
Steve
anybody's.
is in charge of the NHL rights package.
Yeah,
That's
no.
Steve's job.
You know, all the people at Sportsnet are like, what if we just like, here's something for our business. What if we just broke the law?
Right.
What if we just?
But people will tweet you like you have control of international law.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, if you live in the States and something's Canada only, it's impossible to watch it. I'm not allowed to say anything in particular, but ice surfing, 7 to 10 Eastern, Tuesdays. Love it.
Except
Show me.
if it's not.
Except the one more time! Oh, whatever. Oh, the time doesn't matter if you pause it.
Wasn't it on like Wednesday a couple weeks ago?
No, it was on New Year's Eve.
Which was a Wednesday. Was it not?
No.
No, maybe I'm confused.
New Year's
Anyways.
Day when we were all hungover.
Doesn't matter.
Hey guys,
Must
listen.
watch TV on Twitter.
The thing is, there'll be so much great stuff on ice surfing, especially this week
Yeah.
after the podcast. So he'll go warmed up to ice surfing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine, right? Like he usually goes in there cold, but he's gonna go in there having warmed up here.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Doubleheader.
I'm ready. All right, guys. So we will see you Tuesday because Steve is leaving Wednesday to go to the show, and then we're gonna have a show on the Monday after Steve gets back because yeah. And I also, honestly,
No, that's fuck. So we're gonna be doing back-to-back podcast ice surfings.
yeah.
Great.
Jesse, Steve might have to work an 8-hour day.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.